Okay, this video is explaining the worksheet Factoring Completely Day 1. Looks like this. I'm going to do a few of the problems and then you can finish the rest. What I need you to do is write down the ones I do plus the other ones and write your name on the paper and then take a picture of that and upload it to me. Okay, let's get started. Okay, what I'm going to do is the questions that I do, I'm going to do on the whiteboard because it's easier for you guys to see that. So number 1. Okay, if we were to factor something that looks like this, this is one, if you recall, in semester A, it's called the difference of two perfect squares, because this term is a perfect square and this whole term is a perfect square and it has a minus in the middle. That's why we say difference. So you make your two sets of parentheses. To get the x squared, we would have x times x. To get the negative 9y squared, we'd have 3y and 3y, because you take the square root of each term, and then one of these will be plus and one of these will be minus. And that is your final answer. Okay, while we're doing that one, I'm going to go ahead and do number 8, because it's also the difference of two perfect squares. 9x squared minus 25, perfect square, minus in the middle. This would be 3x, because the square root of 9 is 3. Over here, the square root of 25 is 5. Then one would be plus and one would be minus. And that is your final answer. Okay. All right, next we're going to do number 2. 3x squared minus 3x minus 36. Okay, on this one, first thing we can do is we can factor out a 3 because they all have 3 in common. So I'd have 3, and be left with x squared, minus x minus 12. Okay? Then the 3 remains outside. We put our two sets of parentheses and we're going to factor this right here. Now when we factor this constant number here at the end, we need two numbers that multiply to give me negative 12, that the same two numbers would add to give me negative 1, because we understand that there's a 1 right there, even though there's not 1 written there. Okay, so I would put my x and my x. Two numbers that multiply to give me negative 12 would be negative 4 and positive 3. So negative 4 times positive 3 would give me this negative 12, and negative 4 plus 3 would give me that negative 1. And that is fully factored. Okay, next we're going to do number 4. Okay, we have 2x squared minus 11x plus 14. Now, we look to first see if we can factor anything out, and there's not a number that's going to go into 2 that also goes into negative 11 and also goes into 14. So nothing will factor out. So normally we would need two numbers to multiply to give me this and add to give me this, except for this one's different because we have a leading coefficient of a number greater than 1. So on this one, we have to do what's called the bottoms up method. Okay, so what we do on the bottoms up method is we take this leading number and we're going to multiply it by this final number, and we're going to rewrite it. Times 2 is 28. Okay, now that we got rid of the leading coefficient of 2, we're going to factor this as usual. So now I need two numbers that multiply to give me 28, that add to give me negative 11. I put my two sets of parentheses, my x and my x. Okay, now if this is positive and this is negative, that means these are both going to be negative numbers, because a negative times a negative would give me a positive, and a negative plus another negative would give me a negative. Okay, so what two numbers multiply to give you 28 and add to give you 11? Okay, or negative 11, it would be negative 4 and negative 7, because negative 4 times negative 7 is positive 28, and negative 4 plus negative 7 is negative 11. Now, we have to undo what we did. So since we multiplied by 2, now we're going to divide by that 2. Divide by the 2. Because we have to undo that. So then you look at this, reduce it if possible. I'll go ahead and switch back to my red. So this would reduce to x minus 2. Over here, this will not reduce, so we do what's called bottoms up. This bottom number goes up here in front of this, and that would be 2x minus 7. And that is fully factored. Okay, we're going to do one more like that. No, actually we're going to do a different one, but there's several of them like that on there. So if you have any questions, you can contact me on during my office hours. Okay, I'm going to do number 6 with you. I'm going to rewrite that. I need to put it on there where it's a little smaller. Okay, this is number 6. We have 2x cubed plus 3x squared minus 32x minus 48. Now, the first thing you always check for is to see if you can factor out something. In this situation, everything is divisible by 2. I'm going to write it like this time, because this is one we're going to factor by grouping. So this would be x cubed plus 3x squared minus 30, nope. Okay, let's start number 6 completely over again. Okay, we have 2x cubed plus 3x squared minus 32x minus 48. Okay, I said that 2 would go into all of these, and then as I was doing the problem, I realized that it will not go into this one. So this one, there's nothing that will go into all of these. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and group them. We're going to group these two together, and we're going to group these two together. Okay, on this particular one, we can factor out an x squared, and we're left with 2x plus 3. Okay, over here, we can factor out a 16, because 16 will go into both of these, and actually we're going to factor out a negative 16, and that 16 goes into this too. 16 goes into 48 3 times, and it will be a positive 3. Okay, now our whole thing, remember before, was to make sure these two look alike, and they do. So we're going to put these two together. And since those are the same, you just write it down. Now, you would normally think that that was totally done. However, this particular part right here is the difference of 2 squares. So we're going to put the 2x plus 3 here. This, we're going to factor this portion, would be x, and it would be plus 4 and minus 4. And that is fully factored. And that is all that I'm going to do with you. If you will finish up the rest, put your name on the paper, and upload a picture to me, you will get your grade. Thanks.